Welcome back to the Dorm Room to Boardroom podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Charlie. I will let you introduce Jake.
Yeah, so today we're virtual, guys, because we are on break, but we're still going to get a pod done and get so much value out of this. So without further ado, Jake Ross, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime. Thanks for joining us. All right, so our first question for you is going to be tell us a bit about yourself, where you from, and obviously we know you through Babson, so kind of give us a little backstory about how you chose Babson.
Yeah. So I born, raised, and still live in Boston. Haven't not really well traveled, I guess. But I run a company called BuildU. In short, we create LinkedIn content for founders, executives, and companies. Did not start that way, like that. There's like a whole story behind that. I'm sure we'll get into that. And as you guys mentioned, I am a Babson alum. I graduated in 2024. I had a very interesting path to Babson. I actually did not want to go to Babson. Um, I was offered a scholarship, which I was very grateful for, but I really had my heart set on going to Northeastern. That said, because of COVID that year, for some reason, like they were like delaying like the they were like delaying people going for like a semester. So I would have had to start in like the January semester if I went to Northeastern. And so I was like, yeah, like I'll just go to Babson and got a scholarship and kind of didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Like I was always for entrepreneurship, but never really thought I was going to run my own company out of school. Just thought I'd do it to kind of make some extra money. So I was like, I want to go to Northeastern, kind of work a co-op, get a job, and have a 9 to 5. And then went to Babson, was there first semester, did not like it, so applied to transfer to Northeastern. I got in, but still decided to stay at Babson. And then I did it one more time my sophomore year. I applied out because I was like, all right, yeah, I'm actually moving. And then I talked to Dean Ward, who is not with Babson anymore. And was just like, Dean Ward, like, I kind of want to leave, but like, I still don't know what I should do. Like, should I go to Northeastern? Should I go to Babson? Like, I just started my business, but I still don't, like, I think I'm going to have to get a job out of college. And he was basically like, Jake, you just have to get your head and feet in the same place. And he's like, whatever that decision is, you just need to make it. And as long as your head and feet are in the same spot, you're going to be successful. And I was like, okay. And then I found out like Northeastern uses Outlook, and at that time, Babson still used Gmail. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll stay at Babson because I did
No
not want to move
way.
to Outlook. Like I was so like could have gone either way. Using Outlook and switching to that would have been such an inconvenience for me that I was like, all right, I'll stay at Babson. And then my last years at Babson were like amazing. Like
Yeah.
finally had my head and feet in the same place,
Mhm.
used all the resources, started really focusing on my business, and like here we are now, a couple years out, and it's the best decision I ever made was to stay.
Yeah. So kind of building off of that, what made that difference? I mean, I know you kind of said having your head and feet in the same place, but what made that difference from those first 2 years being a little bit rough to kind of really enjoying Babson and kind of thriving here?
I would say the first part is the classes I took. Like I was taking a lot of like the classes you had to take.
Mm.
My first couple years, like freshman, sophomore year, and by the time I got to my junior, senior year, like I was actually able to take classes I wanted to, like personal finance. I took two tax classes, like one for business, one for personal. Like that's helped me so much. I got to take like grow your venture classes where like the class was working on your business. So I think once I got that flexibility to like get the value I wanted out of Babson, it made my experience so much better. And I also knew what I was focused on. Like for freshman, sophomore year, I was focused on getting a job. And then junior, senior year, I was focused on like, okay, we're gonna get to like build you to a point where like we're gonna go full time with this.
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense.
So I know that BuildU wasn't the first company you started. Can you tell us a little bit about the sports card company you started? And then when did the transition, like how did that go? Tell us a little bit about that company.
Yeah, so that was JR Sports Cards, very creative name. In short, I just like would open up back boxes of cards on YouTube and just talk about the cards, like help basically other collectors on a budget. Like
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
felt was missing was there was no place to get like news on the hobby. Like if something happened, like nobody was really reporting it. So I became kind of the person that like told everybody what was happening or get my hands on a box first and like open it and let people decide if it was worth it or not. So started doing that a lot, loved it, was buying and selling cards. and it was actually like really successful. I just, for whatever reason, my freshman year was like, okay, like I just don't like want to continue posting. Like, really dumb reason, but like I just decided not to. Like I don't know. Um, and got an internship, got a couple internships, was like working those roles, and then I was in E-Tower at the time. Like I had got in for JR Sports Cards. For anyone that doesn't know, E-Tower is like Babson's entrepreneurship live-in community at Babson. So it's like a bunch of undergrads that live together, all working on their business. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to stay. So I was like, I kind of have to start something. So I was like, let me just start marketing for people. And so that's kind of the dawn of Build You. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go get a client and start helping some with their marketing, and that's gonna be my business. And
What
at
was
that
it?
time, I,
Well, just
yeah,
something quick before our next question. What was the coolest card you ever pulled? Or do you have a
pulled.
like a best card, most expensive, something
I
crazy?
I honestly never pulled anything crazy. I didn't open any, like I didn't open much
Okay.
that was like super valuable. I would say the nicest card I had was probably a 2014, no, 2012 rookie Russell Wilson, one of one, who had his like laundry, it's a company called Laundry Tag, like
Okay.
rookie patch auto, and that I think sold for like $1,100. So that was probably good.
Wow.
And then I did have a Joe Burrow PSA 10, which I know can sound like gibberish if you don't know what I mean, but like Joe
No, I
Burrow
know
PSA
that.
10
Yeah.
optic out of 199. I bought it for 300 and I resold that for like just under 1100. And if I had waited a little bit longer when he went to the Super Bowl with the Rams, it was going for like 5 grand, like a week
Damn.
before he played in the Super
Damn.
Bowl.
Wow, that's
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to back in 2020, I got really into sports cards, so I know all that lingo too. I like the
Let's
PSA and all
go.
that. Yeah. But I know you touched on this a bit earlier. Like, did you kind of always know that you wanted your own company or wanted your own thing? I know you said you kind of wanted to take that 9 to 5 route, but what really changed when you were like, okay, I want to do my own thing? Did you kind of have like a realization moment, or how did that go?
I was always entrepreneurial. So like I always like even when I was like sick in sixth grade, like I created like I literally braided bracelets and then like sold them at the local pool. So like I always knew I wanted to do that, but the risk involved in like the work that like more so like the financial risk involved of like okay, like I have to basically make a living after college and live on my own, like that pressure like really made it okay, gonna go get a nice job after college. And then when I think like that sophomore year, like it really changed for me when I realized like, whoa, like I could definitely make a living off doing this. And all I need is like 4 clients. Like imagine I have 30. Like right now we have like
Mhm.
30, so we're in the 30 something range, and then we're running multiple accounts for those clients. So it's like I went from 4 clients to like, great, I can do this and like rent an apartment and eat food. And then I realized, okay, great. Like if I just replicate this many times, like we can actually make this work. And so I think it was like creating a minimal viable product in a way of like our
Yeah.
service and realizing it can get me to like where I'm trying to be after college. And then it becomes less about money and it's more about building a team and like supporting your team and like making sure they're taken care of.
Mhm.
So we've touched on it a little bit and you've mentioned Build You, but can you, for those that don't know, what is Build You? Can you get a little more in depth on what you do and
Yeah,
what your company does?
for sure. So, um, part of BuildU is basically creating LinkedIn content for executives and founders, and the other part is creating LinkedIn content for company pages. So inherently, we'll work one-on-one with like maybe a head of sales or a founder or a CEO, anybody that's client facing, and then help them create their own LinkedIn content. So we'll help them brainstorm content ideas based on like what's going on in their world and what's going on in their industry, and then we'll interview them to extract the post information, and then we take that interview and we'll write the post based on what we think the most important parts of the interview were, and translate it into like a format on LinkedIn that is algorithm friendly. So even things like using a vertical photo for your post versus horizontal can drastically affect how much engagement you're getting on LinkedIn, because the vertical photo takes up more scrolling space, so people are more likely to stop on your post, so helping them optimize their content as well.
Can you talk a little bit about why an executive or a business professional would want to hire someone like you or and Build You and what's the benefit that they get from posting on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'd say I'll just kind of go with like our two current use cases. So number one, your fundraising. We see that a lot with like tech companies or CPG. They hire us to run their LinkedIn profile to share milestones and share the journey to get investors like investors are not investing in the idea, they're investing in the person at the end of the day because the idea is most likely going to pivot. And so at the like if they can show off the journey and show that they're the right person to be building the venture, that helps investors kind of follow the journey. It's brand awareness. So it's more so creating like a relationship with investors and proving to them that you're the right person. On the other side of it is usually B2B services, where like, you have a company and you're servicing another business. Biggest thing there is like people in business hire people that they trust. And so if you're able to create relatability, share content that helps them, like educates your target customer without expecting anything in return, they're not going to want to do it themselves and they're going to end up hiring you. So if you're a founder, let's say you're an accountant, then we would make your entire network and people on LinkedIn think of your first name and you are the accountant to go to. So they have a tax question, they have a bookkeeping question, a finance question, they're going to go to you first. And that's how you kind of basically get a lead, build trust, and it helps bring in clients and build business and drive referrals.
Super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know how you kind of said like you joined E-Tower. It was originally for the sports cards, and then you like transitioned like I'm just gonna do marketing for people. When did it kind of go from I'm just gonna do some marketing on the side and that's kind of like my business to like build you like real company and like what did that whole
Yeah,
process look
quick,
like?
honestly. So I'd say it took about 3 months where I got my first client, but they wanted me to do like 20 hours of work a week while taking classes. And at the time, I was still really dialed on like school. And like I was spending, probably 30 or 35 hours on school a week. So, that's 55-hour weeks. So I was like, okay, I got to hire somebody. So I literally Googled how to open payroll in the state of Massachusetts. And I interviewed my now co-founder, Ryan Lytle, for the role. And this is like, he's in the track locker room, make fun of him all the time. This is how he interviewed. He's like, all right, like, hey, nice to meet you. And I still hired him. And now he's like a rock star. We've been working together for a long, really long time in this. But I think once I hired him, that's when I was like, okay, like this is real. Like now I'm like supporting somebody and like this would be cool to do it together after college and getting that second client, that third, fourth, fifth client, it builds your confidence that you can do this.
You mentioned the hours that you're working per week. What was it like running a business while being a full-time student? I know that could be pretty hard, time management, all that stress.
That
Like,
was
how was
Yeah, that was
that?
brutal. I think like I really felt it by my senior year.
Oh my God, yeah.
Especially second semester senior year. I mean, was never going out with friends. Like I didn't go out like once basically. Like I was in my dorm room or like in the E Tower common room Friday, Saturday night. Like we would do Thursday night dinners with my friends. Like he would invite us over. His name was Nat, and he'd cook for us. I was on my laptop the entire time on the couch, like because I just had to grind. Like there's no other option. It was either
Hmm.
homework or grind the business. And so like I literally graduated on a Saturday, and by Monday I was like back to work like it was regular, but I was so much less stressed. I was like, oh wow, like this is great. Like I love being graduated because life felt easy. Like I had time to go to the gym. I had time to like just hit the snooze alarm for 5 minutes in the morning if I really wanted to. Like it was like a breath of fresh air. Like running a business, I was so ready to graduate.
Yeah. In Spirit, I talk about this a lot. It's kind of like you get advice from a bunch of different people when you're in college where it's like, hey, like these are the best years of your life, live it up. Or people are like, all right, grind in your 20s and get ahead. What's your take on that? And do you kind of have like any regrets like working, especially like senior year spring where a lot of people are just like, hey, just live it up and have fun. What's your kind of take on that?
I go back and forth on the whole like grind your 20s versus live. Like this is gonna sound so like corporate, but like it's just the balance. Like
Mhm.
I don't regret working super hard like during college. Like I would not be here right now. Like so that I don't regret that at all. And like my buddy actually was talking to him like a couple week like the Thursday night dinner guy. He was like he asked me like, do you regret it? I'm like no. Like I wouldn't like I have such a great life right now. Like I don't have to be at my desk from 9 to 5 if I don't want to. Like I have the flexibility to choose what I want to do. But at the same time, like I've also had to remind myself, like, you do need to have fun. You do need to, like, go out and make time for yourself because then you're not going to show up 100% when you do go to work. And I think people can see that. So I'm always back and forth, like, whether it's grind in my 20s versus, like, have fun. And at the end of the day, it's just a balance. And you grind when you have to grind. Like, there are weeks where I have to put in, like, 65, 70 hours, actual hours, not just like sitting around. It's like actual grind. And there's other weeks I can put 30 or 40 in and it's like, okay, like this is nice. Or I can take a Friday off to go play golf with my dad and nobody has to like tell me I can't do that.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like gaining new customers and building your business and like brand and reputation and like satisfying your customers? What's that like? How do you get new clients? Like
Yeah.
where does what are challenges and how have you done it?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with like how do we get clients and I'll go through the journey. So like 40% of our new business in 2025 was referrals from existing clients. 30% was from like me networking or like going to events. 15% was through my own LinkedIn content. And then the other 15% is like miscellaneous. And I always say
Hmm.
like LinkedIn content supports your other channels. So like I don't expect to get a lot of leads from my own LinkedIn content, but it helps me get more referrals and it helps me when I network. It provides that credibility. So that's kind of like the breakdown of how we acquire customers. In terms of satisfying customers, it's very interesting. It's like you need the right customer. Like not every person that comes across my desk I'll work with. I'll be like, I don't think we're like a fit for your business. Your goals need to be aligned, your expectations need to be aligned. They need to know like what they're buying and what they're buying just needs to make sense for their industry. Like generally B2C for LinkedIn doesn't really work. Like I've had a lot of consumer packaged goods companies are like, "Hey, I want to work with you guys on our LinkedIn to sell more products." I'm like, "Well, that's not really like what LinkedIn is great for. Like it's great if you're B2B commercial." Or at least have one part of your business be commercial. So I actually found myself turning down a lot of clients. And then when I do take on a client and they're like, okay, we also want to work with you, generally works out really well because I've kind of already vetted them and I know, okay, like
Right.
our service is tailored to them. When it doesn't work out, it's because I shouldn't have taken that client on before anyways, because it just there wasn't it wasn't the right fit for the service.
Makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah. And so now that you're out of college, I know you kind of said you have like breath of fresh air that you can actually breathe now. That's honestly, it's kind of how I feel on break right now. It's like a
Yeah.
month of like just work and not balancing both. Um, but it's difficult being the founder of a startup too. Like, do you ever get like imposter syndrome or you're like, I don't know if this is the right call, or like how do you kind of deal with that? Because you're kind of on your own in this journey. I mean, I know you have your partners and stuff, but being young and doing a startup is difficult. So how do you deal with that?
I'd say imposter syndrome, no, just because I've kind of probably ego, but like I've also like coached myself to like I do deserve to be in these rooms. Like I've worked hard enough to be here.
Mhm.
Um, on the other side of it though, like how do you know like sometimes like, oh, should I make this call? Should I not? It's more so like first I have awesome advisors. So like surround yourself with people that like want to help you and like have done what you were trying to do or a version of it. Super, super key. Um, and a lot of those connections I've made from like networking or like meeting people and they just want to help. But I think it's about having core values. So like I know that kind of seems like a buzzword, especially in college. I'm like, oh, like core values, like what are we talking about? But if you do kind of operate with the same values, like for me, should I make this call or not? I'm like, am I being honest? Do I think I'm doing the right thing by doing X, Y, Z, right? So like going with that, and so, like, having these guiding principles that have guided me personally within all my decisions makes me confident that you make the wrong decision, you learn from it, and you move past it. But it really is about having like guiding principles of like always be honest, even if it's not like you don't have to say it or nothing would happen if you weren't. It's always best to be upfront. You earn respect and retention and trust that way.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's great advice. Where do you see Build You long term? Do you have expansion opportunities? Just the long term agenda that you envision Build You becoming.
Yeah. It's a good question. So I'd say we're kind of building pillars right now. So like LinkedIn is our first pillar. We're like we're mastering LinkedIn for personal brands and company brands. I think we still have like there's so much potential left there. Like we haven't even scratched the surface. So I want to continue building that out. And then we're finding like what else is do our clients need that like we want that they want us to fulfill. So like we're getting a lot of demand for like, hey, can you write our newsletters? Because when people go on LinkedIn, they're going to our website and they're filling out this form, and now we need someone to write our newsletters. So, we're going to probably introduce that service or creating lead magnets, which are like ways to put like resources you put behind an email wall to capture emails from your customer or potential customers. So it's going to be building services based on what our clients need, and then kind of creating like like a suite of services that are a la carte. People can kind of pick from. We can recommend based on where we think they're at, but it's kind of going one by one and not trying to do everything all at once.
Yeah,
Cool.
totally makes sense. Yeah, so majority of our viewers, at least I think, are Babson students.
Yes.
I honestly don't really know. I'm kind of just assuming.
Or I don't even think we
But
have any viewers, but
No, hey, one of you guys had like 70 views on Dan's podcast,
and
so
hey,
yeah.
you put 70 people in the room. It's a lot of people, you know.
that's filling up that library room right now. So
Exactly, exactly. Um, but so a lot of the viewers I think are Babson students. If you had to give yourself like one or two pieces of advice, like whether you're like a sophomore, junior, or senior, and someone who kind of knows they want to do their own thing, but they don't really like know exactly what would kind of be your general advice to them?
I'd say number one, it's use the resources Babson gives you, like use the blank center, apply to every damn pitch competition you possibly can. Like there was one pitch I didn't get invited to, and I just emailed them. It was like, hey, I'd love to pitch, and I got a client from that pitch. So like you just never know. So like take every single opportunity you can. And then second piece is just like if you actually want to make this happen, you need to be like willing to give something up. For me, it was like my social life or like time with my friends and family that got me to where I am today. But you need to be willing to do that. Like you can't balance everything and do it great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions we have. Thank you again for coming on the pod. I know it's virtual, but one last question. If anyone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you? Where can they find Build You? Give yourself a shout
Hit me up on LinkedIn, Jake Ross, and I'll get back to
out.
you. Just shoot me
LinkedIn
a connect
famous.
request with a note. Of
There we go. Thank you so much, Jake.
course.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you, Jake.